My name is Samuel Lockridge, as Chris said, and I'm the Arts Education Director at the Kentucky Arts Council, and your host this afternoon. I'm so glad you're here today to experience the power of poetry. Poetry Out Loud is a national arts education program that encourages the study of great poetry by offering free educational materials and a dynamic recitation competition to high schools across the country. This program helps students master public speaking skills, build self-confidence, and learn about literary history and contemporary life. Poetry Out Loud is a partnership of the National Endowment for the Arts, the Poetry Foundation, and state arts agencies like the Kentucky Arts Council. Now, over the past several months, these students have been exploring the written word, pushing themselves out of their comfort zones and finding their own voices. And all along the way, they have been supported and guided by incredible educators all over the state. Some of them are professional teaching artists who've dedicated their careers to cultivating the next generation of artists. And some of them are just passionate school teachers who care about helping their students grow into the best possible versions of themselves. But none of this would be possible without the hard work and dedication of Kentucky teachers. So if you're a teacher of any kind, we just want to take a moment up front and recognize and thank you for being the heroes that you are and doing what you do so selflessly. So round of applause. This is our second year holding the state finals contest virtually. And it's a little strange still, but I think we're getting the hang of it. So I do have a couple of quick housekeeping things, technical notes before we get started. Champions, you should all be here joining us within this Zoom webinar. Because one of you will leave here today with the title of Kentucky State Champion. So we'd love to be able to give you a moment in the virtual spotlight. Friends, family, the general public are all tuning in to the live stream on the Kentucky Arts Council Facebook page. And also we do have a captioning service available today. So you can turn that on or off in the Zoom menu bar as needed. And in a few moments, we will begin the contest. There will be 2 rounds in which we hear from all 12 school champions, followed by a 3rd round of only the top 5 finalists, after which the runner-up and the state champion will be named. And we should wrap up at about 3 o'clock Eastern time. So I will just introduce our champions here real quick in alphabetical order. From Danville High School, we have Kirsten Blaine. From St. Xavier High School, we have Joshua Burge. From Greenwood High School, Veronique Demars. From Beechwood High School, Lupita Diaz. From Great Crossing High School, Charlotte Knapp. From Allen County Scottsville High School, Kelly Mannion. From George Rogers Clark High School, Grace Owen. From Betsy Lane High School, Dusty Rogers. From Elizabethtown High School, Kate Schertz. From Kentucky Country Day School, Lorelei Underwood. From Scott County High School, Abby Ward. And from Williamstown High School, Lexi Wilson. So round of applause for all of our champions. We have an incredibly talented group of students this year, and I wish you all the best of luck. And now let's meet our judges. So judges, I will call your name and then feel free to unmute yourself and say a few words. So first we have Makalani Bendele.
Good afternoon. You probably can't see me. All of a sudden the light is a little funny. I'm outside enjoying the beautiful Kentucky weather. I'm from Louisville and a writer, poet, just graduated from the University of Kentucky's Masters of Fine Arts program, and I'm wishing all of the champions good luck.
Thank you, Makalani. Bernard Clay.
Hey, I'd like to thank Samuel and the Kentucky Arts Council for having me. It's an honor to be able to judge these great champions read or recitate some of those poems. My name is Bernard Clay. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I also went to UK MFA program and got my MFA there. And yeah, it's a great honor to be able to judge this. Thank you.
Thanks, Bernard. And Katerina Stoikova.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katerina Stoikova, and I am from Eastern Europe, from Bulgaria, to be exact. I am the author of several books and the publisher of many. I love poetry and spend large part of my life reading, writing, editing, translating, or publicizing poetry. I am so excited and honored to be part of this event. Good luck to all.
Thank you. And finally, we have Jude McPherson.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you to the Kentucky Arts Council and Samuel for having me back for, I believe this is the third time. So I look forward to this time of year to be able to do this. This is truly a privilege. Some incredible voices out there. And this is just a start for you all. And I know you all are going to keep doing beautiful things with the word. And that really gives me confidence in the future. So let's get it on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, judges. I think without further ado, we'll just move right on in and begin round one. So first up, representing Danville High School, we have Kirsten Blaine.
Not Waving But Drowning by Stevie Smith. Nobody heard him, the dead man, but still he lay moaning. I was much further out than you thought, and not waving, but drowning. Poor chap, he always loved larking, and now he's dead. It was too cold for him, his heart gave way, they said. Oh no, no, it was too cold always. Still the dead one lay moaning. I was much too far out all my life, and not waving, but drowning.
Okay, and we'll give our judges just a moment here to submit their scores. Okay, I think I've heard back from all our judges. We're good to go. So next up, representing St. Xavier High School, we have Joshua Burge.
Yellowtail by Mary Morris. The war was over. We sutured the wounded, buried the dead, sat at the bar with the enemy near the blue throat of the sea. A sushi chef slivered salmon into orchids, etched clouds from oysters as they rose from snowing pearls. From shrimp and seaweed, he shaped hummingbirds which hovered above our heads. With the world's smallest blade, he carved from yellowfin miniature flanks of horses. They cantered around our hands.
All right, judges, take a moment to submit your scores. Okay, thank you, judges. Next up, representing Greenwood High School, we have Veronique Demars.
The Author to Her Book by Anne Bradstreet. Thou ill-formed offspring of my feeble brain, who after birth didst by my side remain, till snatched from thence by friends less wise than true, who thee abroad exposed to public view, made thee in rags, halting to the press to trudge, where errors were not lessened, all may judge. At thy return my blushing was not small, my rambling brat in print should mother call. I cast thee by as one unfit for light, thy visit was so irksome in my sight. Yet, being mine own, at length affection would thy blemishes amend, if so I could. I washed thy face, but more defects I saw. And rubbing off a spot still made a flaw, I stretched thy joints to make thee even feet. Yet still thou run'st more hobbling than is meet. In better dress to trim thee was my mind, but naught save homespun cloth in the house I find. In this array, mongst vulgars mayest thou roam. In critics' hands beware thou dost not come, and take thy way where yet thou art not known. If for thy father asked, say thou hadst none. And for thy mother, she alas is poor, which caused her thus to send thee out of door.
All right, judges, take just a moment to submit your scores. Okay, thank you, judges. Next up, representing Beechwood High School, Lupita Diaz.
Spanglish by Tato Laviera. Pues estoy creyendo Spanglish, bicultural systems, scientific lexicographical, intertextual integrations. Two expressions, existentially wired. Two dominant languages, continentally abrazándose en colloquial combat en las aceras del suelo. Imperio Spanglish emerges. Control pandillaje sobre territorio bilingüe. Las novelas mexicanas mixing with radio rock and roll. Condomited cocinador. Immigrant, migrant, nasal mispronouncements. Baraja, chismeteos, social club. Hip hop pireta street salsa. Corner sol de mesturando. Spanish pop farandula. Standard English classroom with computer technicalities. Spanglish is literally perfect. Spanglish is ethnically snobbish. Spanglish es carajo la inteligencia. Which US slang do you speak? Thank you.
All right, judges, take a moment to submit your scores. Thank you, judges. Next up, representing Great Crossing High School, Charlotte Knapp.
The Blue Booby by James Tate. The blue booby lives on the bare rocks of Galapagos and fears nothing. It is a simple life. They live on fish and there are few predators. Also, the males do not make fools of themselves chasing after the young ladies. Rather, they gather the blue objects of the world and construct from them a nest, an occasional Galois package, a string of beads, a piece of cloth from a sailor's suit. This replaces the need for dazzling plumage. In fact, over the past 50 million years, the male has grown considerably duller, nor can he sing well. The female, though, asks little of him. The blue satisfies her, completely has a magical effect on her. When she returns from her day of gossip and shopping, she sees he has found her a new shred of blue foil. For this, she rewards him with her dark body. The stars turn slowly in the blue foil beside them, like the eyes of a mild savior.
All right, judges, take a moment to submit your scores. Thank you, judges. Next up, representing Allen County Scottsville High School, Kelly Mannion.
Ozymandias by Percy Bysshe Shelley. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear, my name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair." Nothing beside remains, round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare. The lone and level sands stretch far away.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. Thank you, judges. Next up, representing George Rogers Clark High School, Grace Owen.
Hanging Fire by Audra Lorde. I am 14, and my skin has betrayed me. The boy I cannot live without still sucks his thumb, in secret. How come my knees are always so ashy? What if I die before morning and Mama's in the bedroom with the door closed? I have to learn how to dance in time for my next party. My room is too small for me. Suppose I die before graduation. They will sing sad melodies, but finally tell the truth about me. There is nothing I want to do, and too much that has to be done, and Mama's in the bedroom with the door closed. Nobody even stops to think about my side of it. I should have been on math team. My marks were better than his. Why do I have to be the one wearing braces? I have nothing to wear tomorrow. Will I live long enough to grow up? And Mama's in the bedroom with the door closed.
Judges, go ahead and take a moment to submit your scores. Thank you, judges. Next up, representing Betsy Lane High School, we have Dusty Rogers.
No, I wasn't meant to love and be loved by Mirza Asadullah Khan Ghalib. No, I wasn't meant to love and be loved. If I'd lived longer, I would have waited longer. Knowing you're faithless keeps me alive and hungry. Knowing you faithful would kill me with joy. Delicate are you, and your vows are delicate too. So easily do they break. You are a laconic marksman. You leave me not dead, but perpetually dying. I want my friends to heal me, succor me. Instead, I get analysis, conflagrations that would make stones drip blood, or campfires compared to my anguish. Two-headed, inescapable anguish. Love's anguish, or the anguish of time. Another dark, severing, incommunicable night. Death would be fine if I only died once. I would have liked a solitary death, not this lavish funeral, this grave anyone can visit. You're mystical, Ghalib, and also you speak beautifully. Are you a saint, or just drunk, as usual?
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. Thank you, judges. Next up, representing Elizabethtown High School, Kate Schertz.
The Enigma by Anne Stevenson. Falling to sleep last night in a deep crevasse between one rough dream and another, I seemed, still awake, to be stranded on a stony path, and there the familiar enigma presented itself in the shape of a little trembling lamb. It was lying like a pearl in the trough between one Welsh slab and another, and it was crying. I looked around as anyone would for its mother. Nothing was there. What did I know about lambs? Should I pick it up, carry it? Where? What would I do if it were dying? The hand of my conscience fought with the claw of my fear. It wasn't so easy to imitate the Good Shepherd in that faded, framed Sunday school picture, filtering now through the dream's daguerreotype. With the wind fallen and the moon swollen to the full, small white doubles of the creature at my feet flared like candles in the creases of the night until it looked to be alive with newborn lambs. Where could they all have come from? A second look, and the bleeding lambs were birds. Kittiwakes nesting, clustered on a cliff face, fixing on me their dark, accusing eyes. There was a kind of imperative not to touch them, yet to be of them, whatever they were. Now lambs, now birds, now floating points of light, fireflies signaling how many lost New England summers. One form, now another, one configuration, now another, like fossils locked deep in the folds of my brain, outliving a time by telling its story, like stars.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. Thank you, judges. Next up, representing Kentucky Country Day School, Lorelei Underwood.
Strange by John Frederick Nims. I'd have you known, it puzzles me forever to hear day in, day out the words men use, but never a single word about you. Never. Strange, in your every gesture, worlds of news. On buses, people talk. On curbs, I hear them. In parks, I listen. Barber, shop, and bar. In banks, they murmur, and I sidle near them. But none allude to you there. None so far. I read books, too, and turn the pages, spying. You must be there, one beautiful as you, but never. Not by name. No planes are flying your name in lacy trailers past the blue marquees of heaven. No trumpets cry your fame. Strange how no constellations spell your name.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. Thank you, judges. Next up, representing Scott County High School, Abby Ward.
Thoughtless Cruelty by Charles Lamb. There, Robert, you have killed that fly, and should you 1,000 ages try the life you've taken to supply, you could not do it. You surely must have been devoid of thought and sense to have destroyed a thing which no way you annoyed. You'll one day rue it. 'Twas but a fly, perhaps you'll say, that's born in April, dies in May, that does but just learn to display his wings 1 minute, and in the next is vanished quiet. A bird devours it in his flight, or come a cold blast in the night. There's no breath in it. The bird but seeks his proper food, and Providence, whose power endued that fly with life when it thinks good, may justly take it. But you have no excuses for't. A life by nature made so short. This reason is that you, for sport, should shorter make it. A fly, a little thing you rate. But Robert, do not estimate the creature's pain by small or great. The greatest beings can have but fibers, nerves, and flesh, and these the smallest ones possess, although their frame and structure less escape our seeing.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. Thank you, judges. And finally, from Williamstown High School, welcome Lexi Wilson.
The world is about to end, and my grandparents are in love, by Kara Jackson. Still, living like they orbit one another. My grandfather, the planet, and Grandma, his moon, assigned by some gravitational pull. They have loved long enough for a working man to retire. Grandma says she's not tired. She wears her husband like a coat that survives every season. Talks about him the way my parents talk about vinyl, the subject salvaged by the tint of their tongues. Grandma returns to her love like a hymn, marks it with a color. When the world ends, will it suck the earth of all its love? Will I go, taking somebody's hand, my skin, becoming their skin? The digital age is taking away our winters, and I'm afraid the sun is my soulmate that waits for a wet kiss. Carbon calls me pretty, and I think death is a good first date. I hope when the world ends, it leaves them be. Spares Grandpa and his game, Grandma spinning corn into weight, the two of them reeling into Western theme songs. The TV louder than whatever is coming.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. And that concludes round one. Big round of applause for all of our contestants today. What an incredible group of talented students representing the whole state. It's very exciting. We're going to move right on into round two. We're very excited to keep moving. And so without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and introduce our first contestant once again for round two from Danville High School, Kirsten Blaine.
A Poison Tree by William Blake. I was angry with my friend, I told my wrath did end. I was angry with my foe, I told it not, my wrath did grow. And I watered it in fears, night and morning with my tears. And I sunned it with smiles and soft deceitful wiles. And it grew both day and night, till it bore an apple bright. And my foe beheld it shine, and knew that it was mine. And into my garden stole, when the night had veiled the pole. In the morning, glad I see my foe outstretched beneath the tree.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. Thank you, judges. Next up, representing St. Xavier High School, Joshua Burge.
War Ballad by Stanley Moss, after the Russian. The piano has crawled in from the quarry, hauled in last night for firewood. Sprawled with frozen barrels, crates, and sticks, the piano is waiting for the axe Legless, a black box, still polished, it lies on its belly like a lizard, droning, heaving, hardly fashioned for the quarry's primordial art. Blood red, his frozen fingers cleft, 2 on the right hand, 5 on the left. He goes down on his knees to reach the keyboard, to strike the lizard's chord. 7 fingers pick out rhymes and rhythm. The frozen skin, steaming, it peels off them as from a boiled potato. Their schemes, their beauty, ivory and anthracite flicker and flash like the great northern lights. Everything played before is a great lie. The reflections of flaming chandeliers, deceit. The white columns, the grand tiers and warm concert halls, wild lies. But the steel of the piano howls in me. I lie in the quarry, and I am deft as the lizard. I accept the gift. I'll be a song for Russia. I'll be an etude. Warmth and bread for everybody.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. Next up, representing Greenwood High School, Veronique Demars.
I know, I remember, but how can I help you? By Hayden Carruth. The Northern Lights. I wouldn't have noticed them if the deer hadn't told me. A doe. Her coat of pearls, her glowing hoofs, proud and inquisitive, eager for my appraisal. And I went out into the night with electrical steps, but with my head held also, proud, to share the animal's fear and see what I had seen before. A sky flaring and spectral, greenish waves and ribbons, and the snow under strange light, tossing in the pasture like a storming ocean caught by a flaring beacon. The deer stands away from me, not far. There among bare black apple trees, a presence I no longer see. We are proud to be afraid. Proud to share the silent magnetic storm that destroys the stars and flickers around our heads like the saints' cold spiritual agonies of old. I remember, but without the sense. Other light storms. Cold memories, discursive and philosophical in my mind's burden, and the deer remembers nothing. We move our feet, crunching bitter snow, while the storm crashes like God wars down the east. We shake the sparks from our eyes. We quiver inside our shocked fur. We search for each other in the apple thicket. A glimpse, an acknowledgement. It is enough and never enough. We toss our heads and say goodnight, moving away on bitter, bitter snow.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. Next up from Beechwood High School, Lupita Diaz.
Diameter by Michelle Whiteberg. You love your friend, so you fly across the country to see her. Your friend is grieving. You look at her, you see that something's missing. You look again. She seems all there. Reading glasses, sarcasm, leather pumps. What did you expect? Ruins? Demeter without arms in the British Museum? Your friend says she believes there's more pain than beauty in the world. When Persephone was taken, Demeter damned the world for half the year. The other half remained warm and bountiful. The Greeks loved symmetry. On the plane, the man next to you read a geometry book. The lesson on finding the circumference of a circle. On circumference, you can calculate the way around, if you knew the way across. Try across with your friend. Try around. I don't believe in afterlife, she says. But when Kay died, I thought I might go after her. In case I'm wrong, in case she's somewhere waiting. Thank you.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. Next up from Great Crossing High School, Charlotte Knapp.
The Two Boys by Mary Lamb. I saw a boy with eager eye open a book upon a stall and read as he devour it all, which when the stall man did espy, soon to the boy I heard him call, "You, sir, you never buy a book, therefore in one you shall not look." The boy passed slowly on, and with a sigh, he wished he never had been taught to read. Then of the old churl's books he should have no need. Of sufferings the poor have many, which never can the rich annoy. I soon perceived another boy who looked as if he'd not had any food for that day, at least enjoy the sight of cold meat in a tavern larder. This boy's case, thought I, is surely harder, thus hungry longing, thus without a penny, beholding the choice of dainty dressed meat. No wonder if he wished, he ne'er had learned to eat.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. And next up from Allen County Scottsville High School, Kelly Mannion.
The Impossible Replication of Desire by Lee Herrick. How much delight before we collapse? How much earth in the lungs? How much wine? When we want more, when the weeds sprawl, it is not what you think. Think how fast some landscapes change. The lover, the gardener's grand idea, the failing maple. The boat about to capsize, the correction, the hand's reflection. The impossible replication of weight versus time, how it will never mean what you want.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. And next up from George Rogers Clark High School, Grace Owen.
Dust by Dorian Locks. Someone spoke to me last night, told me the truth. Just a few words, but I recognized it. I knew I should make myself get up, write it down, but it was late, and I was exhausted from working all day in the garden, moving rocks. Now I remember only the flavor, not like food, sweet or sharp, more like a fine powder, like dust. And I wasn't elated or frightened, but simply rapt, aware. That's how it is sometimes. God comes to your window all bright light and black wings, and you're just too tired to open it.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. And next up from Betsy Lane High School, Dusty Rogers.
Dirge Without Music by Edna St. Vincent Millay. I am not resigned to the shutting away of loving hearts in the hard ground. So it is, and so it will be, for so it has been time out of mind. Into the darkness they go, the wise and the lovely, crowned with lilies and with laurel they go. But I am not resigned. Lovers and thinkers, into the earth with you. Be one with the dull, the indiscriminate dust, a fragment of what you felt, of what you knew, a formula, a phrase remains, but the best is lost. The answers quick and keen, the honest look, the laughter, the love, they are gone. They are gone to feed the roses. Elegant and curled is the blossom, fragrant is the blossom, I know, but I do not approve. More precious was the light in your eyes than all the roses in the world. Down, down, down into the darkness of the grave, gently they go. The beautiful, the tender, the kind, quietly they go. The intelligent, the witty, the brave, I know, but I do not approve, and I am not resigned.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. Next up from Elizabethtown High School, Kate Schertz.
Envy by Mary Lamb. This rose tree is not made to bear the violet blue, nor lily fair, nor the sweet mignonette. And if this tree were discontent or wished to change its natural bent, it all in vain would fret. And should it fret, you would suppose, it ne'er had seen its own red rose, nor after gentle shower had ever smelled its rose's scent, or it could ne'er be discontent with its own pretty flower. Like such a blind and senseless tree as I've imagined this to be, all envious persons are. With care and culture all may find some pretty flower in their own mind, some talent that is rare.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. Thank you, judges. Next, from Kentucky Country Day School, Lorelei Underwood.
Acquainted with the Night by Robert Frost. I have been one acquainted with the night. I have walked out in rain and back in rain. I have outwalked the furthest city light. I have looked down the saddest city lane. I have passed by the watchman on his beat and dropped my eyes, unwilling to explain. I have stood still and stopped the sound of feet when far away An interrupted cry came over houses from another street. But not to call me back or say goodbye. And further still, at an unearthly height, one luminary clock against the sky proclaimed the time was neither wrong nor right. I have been one acquainted with the night.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. Next up, from Scott County High School, Abby Ward.
Abandoned Farmhouse by Ted Kooser. He was a big man, says the size of his shoes, on a pile of broken dishes by the house. A tall man, too, says the length of the bed in an upstairs room. And a good, God-fearing man, says the Bible, with a broken back, on the floor below the window, dusty with sun. But not a man for farming, say the fields, cluttered with boulders and a leaky barn. A woman lived with him, says the bedroom wall, papered with lilacs, and the kitchen shelves covered with oilcloth. And they had a child, says the sandbox made from a tractor tire. Money was scarce, say the jars of plum preserves and canned tomatoes sealed in the cellar hole. And the winter's cold, say the rags in the window frames. It was lonely here, says the narrow country road. Something went wrong, says the empty house in the weed-choked yard. Stones in the field say he was not a farmer, and the steel-sealed jars in the cellar say she left in a nervous haste. And the child? Its toys are strewn in the yard like branches after a storm. A rubber cow, a rusty tractor with a broken plow, a doll in overalls. Something went wrong, they say.
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. And from Williamstown High School, Lexi Wilson.
Suppose by Phoebe Carey. Suppose, my little lady, your doll should break her head. Could you make it whole by crying till your eyes and nose are red? And wouldn't it be pleasanter to treat it as a joke and say you're glad 'twas Dolly's and not your head that broke? Suppose you're dressed for walking and the rain comes pouring down. Will it clear off any sooner because you scold and frown? And wouldn't it be nicer for you to smile than pout, and so make sunshine in the house when there is none without? Suppose your task, my little man, is very hard to get. Will it make it any easier for you to sit and fret? And wouldn't it be wiser than waiting like a dunce to go to work in earnest and learn the thing at once? Suppose that some boys have a horse and some a coach and pair. Will it tire you less by walking to say, it isn't fair? And wouldn't it be nobler to keep your temper sweet and in your heart Be thankful you can walk upon your feet. And suppose the world don't please you, nor the way some people do. Do you think the whole creation will be altered just for you? And isn't it, my boy or girl, the wisest, bravest plan, whatever comes or doesn't come, to do the best you can?
Judges, take a moment to submit your scores. And that concludes round 2. And what an impressive start to this contest it has been. Big round of applause again for all of our contestants. So what happens now, we're going to take a short break to tabulate all of the scores from the first 2 rounds and determine who are our top 5 finalists who will proceed to round 3. So at this time, judges and staff, we're going to move into a private breakout room and tabulate all of our scores. So folks tuning in, just sit tight, and we should be back in about 15 minutes, hopefully. Stay tuned. Okay, and we're back. Apologies for the delay. We have tabulated the scores from the first 2 rounds, and we will now name our top 5 finalists who will each recite a poem in a final round. So I'll build the suspense here just a little bit. And in a randomized order, no particular order, our finalists are Kate Schertz from Elizabethtown High School, Lupita Diaz from Beechwood High School, Veronique Demars from Greenwood High School, Charlotte Knapp from Great Crossing High School, and finally, Grace Owen from George Rogers Clark High School. Big round of applause for our top 5 finalists. Very, very exciting. And in just a moment, we will begin our 3rd and final round. So as soon as our videos are queued up, we'll begin. And we'll start with, from Elizabethtown High School, Kate Schertz.
Calmly We Walk Through This April's Day by Delmore Schwartz. Calmly we walk through this April's day, metropolitan poetry here and there, in the parks at Popper and Rentier. The screaming children, the motor car fugitive about us, running away. Between the worker and the millionaire, number provides all distances. It is 1937 now. Many great dears are taken away. What will become of you and me? This is the school in which we learn. Besides the photo and the memory, that time is the fire in which we burn. This is the school in which we learn. What is the self amid this blaze? What am I now that I was then, which I shall suffer and act again? The theodicy I wrote in my high school days restored all life from infancy. The children shouting are bright as they run. This is the school in which they learn. Ravished entirely in their passing play, that time is a fire in which they burn. avid its rush, this reeling blaze. Where is my father and Eleanor? Not where are they now, dead 7 years, but what they were then. No more, no more. From 1914 to the present day, Bert, Spira, and Rhoda consume. Not where they are now. Where are they now? But what they were then, both beautiful. Each minute bursts in the burning room. The great globe reels in the solar fire, spinning the trivial and unique away. How all things flash, how all things flare. What am I now that I was then? May memory restore again and again the smallest color of the smallest day. Time is the school in which we learn. Time is the fire in which we burn.
Once again, judges, that was Kate Schertz from Elizabethtown High School. Take a moment to submit your scores. All right. Next up, representing Beechwood High School, Lupita Diaz.
Life in a Love by Robert Browning. Escape me? Never. Beloved, while I am I, in you or you, so long as the world contains us both, me, the loving, and you, the loath, while the one eludes, must the other pursue. My life is a fault at last. I fear. It seems too much like a fate. Indeed, though I do my best, I shall scarce succeed. But what if I fail of my purpose here? Is it but to keep the nerves at strain, to dry one's eyes and laugh at a fall, and baffled, get up and begin again? So the chase takes up one's life, that's all. While, look but once from your farthest bound at me, so deep in the dust and dark. No sooner the old hope goes to ground than a new one, straight to the self same mark. I shake me, ever remove. Thank you.
Once again, judges, that was Lupita Diaz from Beechwood High School. Take a moment to submit your scores. All right, next up, representing Greenwood High School, Veronique Demars.
The Maldive Shark by Herman Melville. About the shark, phlegmatical one, pale sot of the Maldive Sea, the sleek little pilot fish, azure and slim, how alert in attendance be. From his saw pit of mouth, from his charnel of maw, they have nothing of harm to dread, but liquidly glide on his ghastly flank, or before his Gorgonian head, or lurk in the port of serrated teeth, in white triple tiers of glittering gates, and there find a haven when peril's abroad, an asylum in jaws of the fates. They are friends, and friendly they guide him to prey, yet never partake of the treat. Eyes and brains to the dotard, lethargic and dull, pale ravener of horrible meat.
Once again, judges, that was Veronique Demars from Greenwood High School. Take a moment to submit your scores. Thank you, judges. Next up, representing Great Crossing High School, Charlotte Knapp.
Songs for the People by Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. Let me make songs for the people, songs for the old and young, songs to stir like a battle cry wherever they are sung, not for the clashing of sabers, for carnage, nor for strife, but songs to thrill the hearts of men with more abundant life. Let me make songs for the weary, amid life's fever, and fret till hearts shall relax their tension, and careworn brows forget. Let me sing for little children, before their footsteps stray, sweet anthems of love and duty to float o'er life's highway. I would sing for the poor and aged, when shadows dim their sight of the bright and restful mansions where there shall be no night. Our world so worn and weary needs music pure and strong to hush the jingle and discords of sorrow, pain, and wrong. Music to soothe all its sorrow, till war and crime shall cease, and the hearts of men grown tender girdle the world with peace.
Once again, judges, that was Charlotte Knapp from Great Crossing High School. Take a moment to submit your scores. All right, and finally, representing George Rogers Clark High School, Grace Owen.
Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity. It asked a crumb of me.
Once again, judges, that was Grace Owen. Take a moment to submit your scores. And that concludes round 3 with our top 5 finalists. So at this time, we're going to take one more quick scoring break. And when we return, we will announce our new Poetry Out Loud 2022 Kentucky State Champion and runner-up. So stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Well, I am so glad that you're here. I'm so glad each of you are here. I'm so glad because there is power in human language. There is power in human storytelling. Each of you creative young people has a story of your own to tell the world and a unique role to play in the broader story of humanity. This is a recitation contest, right? But when we speak the written word aloud to each other, we're doing more than just regurgitating someone else's text. We're flexing an emotional muscle. It's a very human muscle that is sometimes easy to let atrophy if we don't exercise it regularly. And that storytelling muscle keeps our empathy alive, and it helps remind us of our shared story. And today, every one of you proved that a poem is somehow more than the sum of its parts. There's a little bit of magic that happens when you find a relationship with the words, when the poem gives you something and you give something back that only you can give. So thank you all so much for sharing that with us today. It was inspiring to watch, and you should all feel very proud of this exercise in your humanity. we have determined our new state champion and first runner-up. And I will not belabor the point any further. And I will just say, first of all, congratulations to our first runner-up, Charlotte Knapp from Great Crossing High School. Round of applause for Charlotte. Congratulations. And finally, the moment we've all been waiting for, the Poetry Out Loud 2022 Kentucky State Champion is Lupita Diaz from Beechwood High School.
All right.
Congratulations, Lupita. Lupita and Charlotte, we're very proud. You've made Kentucky incredibly proud today. Lupita, if we have you available here, we'd love to spotlight you and let you say hello.
Wait.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. How does it feel? How does it feel?
It feels very, I never expected this at all. I thought I don't know. I'm just so grateful.
That's wonderful. We're so happy to see that you're being surrounded and loved by all your classmates. That's so exciting. I'm sure that they're all very proud of you. And on behalf of the Kentucky Arts Council, we're so proud as well. And we give you our warmest congratulations. We wish you the best of luck in the national finals. So I'll be following up with you with more information about that soon. But for now, just enjoy your glory moment. Take a victory lap around the school if you want. And, just know that we're so proud and happy for you, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you for judging.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. We hope that you will all spread the word about this amazing program and encourage everyone you know to support arts education in Kentucky. Information about how to participate in Poetry Out Loud and all of the Kentucky Arts Council's arts education programs is available on our website, artscouncilkentucky.gov, artscouncil.ky.gov. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram, subscribe to our newsletter for more updates. Thank you once again to our amazing judges today, Makalani, Bernard, Katarina, and Jude. Your voices are so valued and appreciated. And thank you to Laura Kogut of McClendon Kogut Reporting Service for providing our accessible live captioning today. So congratulations once again to Charlotte Knapp, our first runner-up, and Lupita Diaz, our new state champion. You've made Kentucky very proud today. Everyone be safe and have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye.